Thompson allowed us to use that. Uh, Basically, the National Weather Service about 5:28 p.m. issued its first warning, and it was a rotation clouds circling in the county's area immediately over the kind of the southwestern portion. It went from Maypearl then to the Ovilla area. It's about 6:01. It was spotted on the ground. So, of course, the sirens, everybody taking shelter. It passed and it hopped through that area from 1387 all the way on through some of the areas in the Ovilla area, Bob White Road, the Long Branch area, La Vista subdivision. And what we can tell right now is that we have about 1,700 homes and businesses throughout the county that are without power. Encore has sent a representative. In fact, I just met with them right before coming here. And so they're going to have crews on the scene trying to restore power. We do have a lot of downed lines, which of course is a very dangerous situation. And so we want to caution the public to please stay back away from those. We're going to try to get those up and cleared as soon as possible. The precinct crews, primarily Precinct 4, Commissioner Butler has the crews out and are trying to assist with barricading areas so that the public is not putting themselves in the way of danger. You know, at this point, we are so fortunate, incredibly fortunate. When you have an incident like this, you know, your first thought is, what is the damage going to be? And not in terms of property lost, but of people and their lives. And we have been so incredibly fortunate that we have not had any life-threatening injuries. There were two transports to hospitals that we don't understand them to be life-threatening injuries. There were other that, you know, first responders would call walking wounded, you know, some that were injured by debris. But many were able to be treated on the scene. And so, again, you know, we're incredibly grateful that that kind of damage was minimized. Approximately 40 to 45 homes were affected. Some of those partially destroyed and others completely destroyed.
Do you know the breakdown?
The breakdown, no, not at this point. As you can imagine, we are experiencing the power outages, so it's difficult to assess some of the damage visually at this point. Sure.
Thank you.
We have done the primary assessment, you know, the primary search and rescue teams that went out, the first responders on the scenes, making sure they've done their preliminary run. As we start getting more power in the area and more resources, then we'll go back in again. There have been some search and rescue dogs that have been in the neighborhoods to make sure that we're not missing anyone. There have been some shelters established at Long Branch Elementary and the Red Oak Middle School for those that are displaced at this time. Red Cross is working on the scene as well. And if people are in need of a place for shelter, they can contact the Red Cross. It's 1-800-RED-CROSS. And there are also those that want to make sure that their family members are okay, can contact or go through the website and lodge, you know, names and make sure that their family members, their loved ones are doing well. There is another round of lightning storms coming. We anticipate that in the next several minutes. So it's incredibly important. I know people want to help, and that's a wonderful thing. And this is a great community, and people are always wanting to help out, especially in a situation like this. But I want to stress the importance of safety first. So if everybody would respect the barriers that are up and go to those sites for ways to assist. At this point, we don't need volunteers. The state has been very generous. We've got DPS on scene, and we have, like I said, incident command centers, and we have people in charge of the areas, and so we're doing our best to determine what the needs are. But people do need to keep in mind, and the first responders are asking for this as well, law enforcement and our fire and rescue teams, that everybody stay in place if possible, because we would hate for there to be additional injuries, just collateral to the tornado.
Now, I heard that there was a possible another tornado confirmed toward Telco. Is that true?
That was true. There was an area a little bit east of Ennis that was affected. However, there were no reported injuries. There was a little bit of property damage, but again, we were incredibly fortunate.
How important or how well prepared was the county to handle a situation like this?
Well, you know, we live in an area that is it's Tornado Alley. We all know that. And so one of the things that we do is try to plan for incidents just like this. Stephanie Parker is our emergency management coordinator for Ellis County, and the various cities that are within the county, some of them have their emergency coordinators as well. They work together with exercises. We do have a CASA radar system that is in Midlothian that helps us detect the tornadoes and severe weather, you know, prior to it hitting. And I think that has gone a long way in assisting the public in just understanding the weather that we're experiencing and having time then to access a shelter for safety.
Could you talk about the teamwork between the different fire departments and police departments that are out there? At one point I had heard that all of the emergency crews for Waxahachie that could be out there were all the on-duty ones, and they had to bring more in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's truly a collaborative effort. Whenever you have an incident, you, through the emergency coordinator and the command staff, you harness those resources. And again, this is a very giving community. We work well together, and it doesn't matter if it's outside in the county or if it's in the city limits. First responders are first responders, and they're there to assist, and that's what they have done. So, you know, I want to express my appreciation to all of them for going out there and being willing to assist despite boundaries.
Do you know if there were any non-residential properties hit?
I would imagine that there may have been. However, I can't confirm that right now.
Okay. I think Red Oak IC had a school damaged at some point.
But that may have been the damage, though, in Red Oak has been minimal, and that's why we were fortunate to be able to use this facility and use the operations center for the fire department and have our team coordinating from there.
No, I'm good.
A lot of the, Judge, a lot of the first responders were having some difficulty getting to the site due to down power lines.
That's correct.
And there were multiple sites. Is that something that you think Encore was fully prepared for, or whoever those responsible utility companies are?
Well, you know, that's a question for Encore, certainly, what their preparations are for just such incidents as this, but they have responded. They are here, and the precinct crews have also responded. Commissioner Butler was able to bring in his crew and assist. So
despite the handicaps, they got in and did their job.
Right, they got where they needed to be, but it is difficult, certainly, with down power lines, and again, that's why I stress for the public that you need to stay away from those. That's a huge danger.
And I know you mentioned that no volunteers were needed at this time. What about donations? Where can people go to donate? I know Ellis County is very giving in that regard. Yeah,
and we do hope that and anticipate that people will contact the Red Cross, and they will be able to kind of harness that generosity and make sure that the things that are being donated are the things that are actually needed for those families that are displaced.
So churches and nonprofits that want to help, their first contact should be Red Cross?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, and I think that's the most effective way to make sure that people you want to help are getting the right kind of help. But immediately, the shelters are opening for those displaced victims.
So just to be clear, there's about 40 to 45 families that are displaced?
Yeah, so we know that 40 to 45 homes were affected.
Okay.
We'll know certainly with the daylight what more there may be, but again, I'm just incredibly grateful that the community did not sustain more damage.
So what's the next step for tomorrow when the sun rises? Where do they go from there?
From there will be an aerial flight to determine damage, to assess if there's anything else that was missed in the evening.
Any clues on the size of the tornado at this point?
No, but I can tell you that Midway Airport at one point was reporting 105-mile-an-hour gusts pretty severe. Anything else?
I got here a little late. Were there any fatalities?
No, there were not. As I was saying before, we're incredibly thankful that that was not something that we had to deal with. I know that there are other parts of the North Texas area that have not been so fortunate, and my heart goes out to all of those families and the devastation that they're dealing with right now.